What's up, fam? It's Sunday. It's a beautiful day here in Ocean City, New Jersey. Chrome, John Coyle, Rant Booth coming at you. Like,
What's up, guys?
subscribe, follow. Are we doing the video? Let's go.
I don't know if we're doing a video today.
Maybe not.
No
I'm
video
going to
today.
assume no. Okay.
Let's go.
Well, then, my bad. Guys, welcome to the Rant Booth. And if you're out here in Ocean City, New Jersey, come on by. Stop over at All Campus, our sponsor here of the Rant Booth. All Campus giving 20% off in our store, including hats, shirts, to all of the subscribers.
Yeah.
Don't forget, too, you can see some of the pictures back here behind us. They have all the Ocean City Boardwalk exclusives here, guys. So if you're somebody that grew up around here and you're a Manco's Pizza or a Bob's Fresh Lemonade or whatever it is, guess what, guys? They got a hat for you. Something you can support one of your favorite places to go and support your favorite baseball team.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, but your favorite. Kidding.
Everyone's favorite.
Yes. So make sure you guys are checking them out and become a member of A2D Radio. Lots of other perks that come with that as well, including exclusive bets
Yeah.
and everything else. So make sure you guys check it out. So live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I'm Chrome, John Coyle, and we're going to talk. We're going to go across the board today.
Yes.
We're talking Philadelphia 76ers sweeping the Nets, and we're also going to go in. We're going to dive into some Phillies. We're going to talk NFL draft, Eagles needs in the first round coming up. But our topic of conversation, our question to start off today is: the Sixers are a legitimate NBA title contender. Agree or disagree? So again, guys, make sure you're liking, subscribing, following on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere social media platforms that you can find A2D Radio, which is every social media platform.
Yes, it is. We're there.
John, the Sixers are an NBA Finals, not conference,
Right.
Finals contender. Are you buying in? Agree, disagree?
Here goes the hate, but I gotta disagree. I mean, this is even before the injury.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which I know there's going to be a heavy topic of conversation here today.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't see us getting by Boston. I just the matchups aren't good. Boston just seems like they own us. Getting over them is just going to be a hurdle that I don't think we are ready to handle. I do have a little bit more hope than what I previously had after the series for one reason only. James Harden looks like he's playing basketball in the playoffs for the first time in his career. I would love to see that continue. I don't know if it will against real competition. Let's not kid ourselves, guys. Brooklyn was not real competition. All right. It literally was us winning in 5 was the major thing. A sweep was not like, oh my God, we swept a playoff game or a playoff series. It wasn't that big a deal. All right. Brooklyn stinks. All right. So going up against a real contender that people have picked, including the people on this panel, to go to the finals is a whole different animal in itself.
See, okay. So I understand where you're at. I look at this totally different. And I'm going to agree. It's not the question is not are they getting to the NBA Finals? It is are they an NBA Finals contender? And I'm going to agree to the poll. And here's why I'm going to agree to the poll. I'm going to counter a number of your points.
Okay.
James Harden, yes, he played well minus the one game.
Right.
The most egregious ejection from any sporting event of all time.
Horrible.
Was the phantom nut shot.
Right.
Of game 3.
Right.
Which he was playing very well in that game.
Leading scorer.
Yeah. I mean, he had, I think, 21 points, and it was in the third quarter when he got ejected. He was on his way to at least a double-double, maybe a triple-double.
Yeah.
With that, though, I look at this basketball team. First of all, I'm not worried about Joel Embiid. I think this is precautionary more so. I think that they realized – I think they realized they didn't need Joel for that.
Okay.
And they were able to kind of get the luxury. Once you're up 3-0, you could sit them.
True.
And honestly, whether they lost 1 or 2 games, that team would have been good enough to have the Sixers would have beat them at some point. But I look at all the other things, all the other questions that we came into the playoffs, right? It was, We know what we're going to get from Embiid. We know what we're going to likely, more often than not, get from James Harden. But what are we going to get from Tyrese Maxey? What are we going to get from Tobias Harris, who, in my opinion, is the MVP of round one?
Yeah.
Played a phenomenal series. He was a game changer. He spread the floor.
I think he was over 20 every game, right?
He had one game where he had 15, but he shot the ball at a high clip and he spread the floor.
Yeah.
But yes, everything else was 20 plus. High quality shots, a lot of effort and hustle down, grabbing rebounds. He shot the 3-pointer fairly well, pretty well. I thought personally Tobias from start to finish was the most consistent, most reliable, best player on the court for the Philadelphia 76ers, and maybe either team.
Agreed.
Might be the only player who, from game 1 to game 4 on either team, played at the highest level that you could expect from them consistently. So I look at that. I see the game that DeAnthony Melton was able to have last night. I see how Paul Reed, who is another guy who's played very, very well. I am encouraged because we have to remember, you can say what you want. First of all, I think Brooklyn is a better team now and will be a better team than what they were when they had the KD and Kyrie Irving duo. I really do. They're a better, more complete team. I think that
they're a deeper team. I'm not going to say better.
I think that Mikal Bridges is going to be a legitimate bona fide superstar. Cam Johnson is a player in this league who could very easily be a high end number 2 or 3 on a team.
They both flourish given the opportunity.
I think they're 1 star away
from
being a real contender. They're really deep, and they play good defense. Listen, they took Joel out of his game after game 1.
Yeah, just running double teams at him and forcing him to make decisions he couldn't face up ever. We know that's his move, right?
Right.
Catch it on the blocks, face up. That they did not let him do that. They ran at him as soon as he touched the ball.
Yeah. And I think that you factor a lot of that stuff in. What did we want to see? We wanted to see how the role players are going to fill their roles. Can other guys make shots down the stretch if your top players are either out or they're not having a good night? And we did.
You got to check that box. And I'm not going to interrupt you here. I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you I'm just a little counter. All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate. All right, and let's listen. The Boston-Atlanta series is not over, but it looks like Boston is going to come out of there, and it's going to be a Philly-Boston matchup. All right. That being said, is Tobias really going to be able to sustain his performance when he has to focus on guarding the number 1 player on that team? You think so?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think it happens. I think his offensive game is going to plummet because his defensive game has to go up.
See, I disagree because I think I'm taking years past out because Tobias and the expectations of what you expected offensively were much different. He had to be more of a high volume shooter before this year.
Yeah.
Last year with Harden, the role was weird. We didn't know how he fit in because he went from a 3 to a 4 in terms of your number 4 option.
Right.
So he went from your 3 to your 4.
And that team didn't have a lot of gelling time and practice and things together. So I give you that.
So it's how do you, at that point, right? Last year it was, how do the shots get distributed?
Right.
We talked about this, all of us on all the shows last year. How does Tobias find his opportunities? Because his offensive opportunities, for most part, Maxey had taken a lot of them.
Yep.
And Harden had taken a lot of them. So when I look at what you expect from him this year and what he has put out, he's the number 4 option. He's playing the most efficient basketball he's played in years. I don't think he's not a guy, and through his career, and we've seen it, he doesn't wear down on defense. It's not anything. He's constantly going. He's an effort guy.
Yeah, but he's also never had to be the guy to guard the number 1 player, right? And now he has to be on this team, right? His role's changed in that. Everyone wants to hate saying his name, but we always had Ben, right? We always had Thibault. And now that has fallen on Tobias.
I think
and we have
overrated.
seen it. right? When he has to guard a legit Hall of Famer, All Star, whatever you want to call Tatum and Giannis and the other guys that he has to guard, he just doesn't have that offensive game. It doesn't happen.
See, I think Thibault was overrated, first of all,
I
because
agree.
I've
I
never
agree.
seen a guy more often commit
Fouls.
awful 3-point
Yeah,
fouls in
yeah.
clutch games in
Right.
my life. I don't want to ever hear about Thibault again. He's
But he
overrated.
was a guy that we relied on
He
to
had-
guard the best players.
Thibault could have nights where he could be
Lockdown.
Andre Iguodala Jr.
Right.
That's the only guy that I really look at. And Ben even had his nights where he got scorched. But the deal is they need this team is not predicated totally on the defense, though, because you have
No.
Joel in the back. Joel is always there, who comes and he'll sweep around and he'll make up. If a guy beats you out up high on the elbow or the shoulder,
Right.
he constantly is back there to kind of back up, right?
And he's has never done that at this high level that he's doing it this year.
Right.
I'm shocked that he didn't get Defensive Player of the Year. I think he deserved it.
Yeah. Who got Defensive Player of the Year? Did they say it yet?
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh.
I always guess Rudy Gobert because
No, it wasn't Rudy Gobert. It wasn't Giannis. Oh my gosh. Fam, if you know, chime in. I can't remember right now.
It wasn't Jokic. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not concerned with that. I think Tobias has been able to go, and all season really too. You've seen him play. He has been assigned some of the best players in the league, and he plays well on defense.
Yeah.
I never worry about the defense, but this season I feel like it's come together for Tobias to where he's not doing the volume. He's finding his opportunities. Right. I think his assists are up this year. So he's also finding the open man when there's not an opportunity.
Right.
I just think he's played so well. It doesn't surprise me that he's playing this well. I think he's in the perfect fit on a title contender, right? We used to look at Andre Iguodala, and I'm only bringing him up because we mentioned him.
Yep.
The thing I always thought about Andre Iguodala, right? There was such a high expectation here in Philly that he was going to be the next star.
Him and Iverson are supposed to lead us to multiple championships.
He was never going to be that guy.
Right.
Andre Iguodala is in his prime, a 15 to 18 point scorer with lockdown defense. He's
correct.
A great piece, a great a little more than a role player, but a great piece to a winning club.
He's a great piece on the Golden State Warriors.
Correct. I look at Tobias on this team now, and I know the contract. People can talk about. I don't care. The contract's almost done at this point. They can move off of it after this year because it's an expiring deal.
Yep.
So we're done. He's been paid his money. We're done with that.
Yep.
We're talking just the player on the court and what we need from him to get to the next level. And we are seeing that from Tobias Harris defensively, offensively, effort-wise.
Yeah.
This is the best version of Tobias Harris we've seen as a Philadelphia 76er.
By far. And there's no debating that, right? You said it. I think everyone agrees to it. He was the MVP of round one. Mm-hmm. All right? I'm just not sold on him doing it when he has to guard an elite player. I've never seen it in the past. I haven't seen it this year. And I don't think I'm going to see it this series. He may have one game, but I think this is going to be the series where everyone calls for his head. I do.
Tobias?
Yes.
Oh, you're crazy.
I think this is going to be the series where everyone calls for his head, and Philadelphia is going to implode.
Here's what I'm going to say to you.
How do you beat Boston? I don't know how we do it. How do we do it?
First of all, I don't think this Boston team is anything like what the team was last year. They don't consistently play good defense. I think the coaching matters. You have a rookie coach against a guy who's been there and won titles, and I think that matters. I think that has shown. I think their talent allows them to blow out Atlanta at points.
You're right.
But then you see games like the other day where they weren't making adjustments, and I think a lot of that was rookie coaching.
Right.
And let's be honest. In Game 3, Atlanta just outworked
them. They outplayed them. They 100% outplayed them. Do you really think that's going to last all series?
Yes.
Stop it.
I don't think. I think the Sixers get past Boston. I don't know. I will say this. I think it'll be a dogfight. I don't know that they have the energy and
Milwaukee
to go through Boston and Milwaukee. But you know what? I mean,
I bet you
never know.
we're the heavy underdogs going into this, Boston, right? I mean, we have to
I
be.
don't think they are at all.
I think we are. I think we will be.
I don't think they're going to be as much of an underdog as you think.
Wow.
So. All right, so we got basically along the lines here. There's a lot of it was Jaren Jackson was the. Thank you guys, thank you Tom.
Oh yes, yeah, thank you,
and thank you John Castigliano.
Yeah, he had a great year defensively. Great year.
Yes, he did. He's a great, he's a very very.
Just
good
thought
player.
Embiid was there a lot longer the whole season. Jared Jackson was hurt a little bit.
Yes,
Whatever.
so the overwhelming vibe in the chat seems to be predicated on JoJo's health. And I agree with that.
And we haven't talked about that.
We'll get into that in a minute. I mean, all things considered, if we're putting that into the equation, then yes, I can understand. I mean, they're not an NBA title contender without Joel Embiid.
Oh God,
we
no.
understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm playing all things even. We got somebody with a hawk out here.
Yeah, the Hawks are back this summer. Yep.
All things even and all things fair here, and I'm assuming that Joe will be okay by the time we get on the court, even if he misses one game. I'm not overly concerned with it. There's been a lot.
If you miss one game, I'm okay, fine.
Been a lot worse injuries he's had in his career at this time of year, so I'm not getting overly worked up on that yet until I have to.
Right.
But yeah, so we talked about Paul Reed too, right? What quality minutes you're getting from him?
Wow.
You're getting the effort, John, that we talked about, like we loved last year. But you're not. He's being more disciplined.
There it is. He's not making the mistakes. He's not making the mistakes that we're used to. The stupid penalties, the turnovers, the just diving and hustle for no apparent reason. It looks like he's really found a way to play basketball. We all knew he had the skill, right? You're talking about the D-League MVP and all that other stuff, right? But he never seemed to be able to find a way to play basketball.
Yeah.
And it seems like right now, he every move that he makes, every step that he makes has a purpose. He now has a purpose to every basketball decision that he has.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think it's experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he's more experienced. There's a lot of veterans on this team now. When you talk about a guy like a PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these guys,
Harden, they really help.
Yeah. And I think if you watch during the year, you see them pull him to the side quite often.
Right.
And I think that again, when I wasn't the biggest fan of the PJ Tucker deal, and I will say it now, I still am not, just because when he get paid what he's paid, I know he's a playoff guy, and I know he's never been a big offensive guy, but I can't give a mid-30s player as much money as he's getting over a 4-year time span to not score the basketball.
Yeah, and he's always been that corner. I need you better than 30% corner three.
Well,
yeah, I need you better than 30%, and that's.
I'd be fine if he hit 2 of those in a layup. He's missing layups.
Yeah,
but defensively, he's doing.
He's been great.
What we need, yes, he has been really great.
Yeah, and you hope that's what it is, right? You hope Tobias can lock down Tatum, and you hope that PJ can lock down Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the matchups that we need to happen and for them to even think about passing Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a tough series. And Eva Curtis also says, I'm sorry, but we ain't beating. I think we all know
I'm with
that.
You, bud.
Curtis, I think we all nobody's disputing that. We're speaking now on the terms of all things fair, all things level. Joel is going to be in the lineup.
Please.
And I don't think there's any way that he's not in the lineup.
Yeah, there's a difference between him being in the lineup and being 100%. He needs to be 100%.
I think he'll be about 100% by then. We have a whole week before this series even starts.
Yeah, I just – are you really buying our medical staff's evaluation of it's just a sprained knee? I never buy that.
I'm not buying that it's as bad as they say. I think that this could be a little bit of gamesmanship as well.
I just look at the history of our medical staff with evaluating injuries, and it's always worse than what they say.
Right, but I think it's a different medical staff at this point. So
yeah,
it's not the ghosts of bedrooms past over here.
All right. It still haunts me. Put it that way.
I get it. And that is the knee jerk reaction here in Philadelphia is we let things that happened in the past
Right.
affect how we feel today, and it is what it is. That's how you
Hey,
guys.
that's
are,
all you can
that's how
do.
you guys are going to be. To me, one season has nothing to do with the next, unless you're Ben Simmons, because all seasons,
here we go.
all seasons, all are the same at that point.
Oh, we got a picture. Hey guys.
How we do? Oh, awesome!
Appreciate it.
But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And listen, I will say this: first round,
Yeah.
in terms of night in and night out, again, what team has looked like the best? And
Sixers. Yeah, I mean, it's not a question, right? The question is,
yeah,
are the Hawks better than the Nets? Yes. Right? Yes.
are they that much better?
Yes. The
I don't know
Nets
if I agree with you.
suck.
I don't think
The Nets suck.
I think you're vastly undervaluing how good of that team is put together already.
The Nets?
They're
3 years away from being. You just said it. They're a superstar away.
No, they're not 3 years away.
Yes,
they're
they
maybe a year away. Nope. I disagree with you wholeheartedly on how close the Nets are. They are closer now than they were with KD.
Oh, I
and
agree.
Kyrie.
I agree.
And I really truly believe that. And I don't think people realize. I didn't. When you saw the original trade with Phoenix,
right?
You're like, man, they got like Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, and it was like.
You didn't know if they could be right.
Role player. Right. I mean, Bridges we thought was good. He's the guy. If he was not even at this level, he's the DK Metcalf or the Justin Jefferson of the Sixers.
I agree. Yeah, we just let go. Yeah,
I can't get over that. He was 15
Tatum
minutes,
too.
15 minutes with us.
Yeah, a cup of coffee.
It was a beautiful 15 minutes. He was a Sixer longer than
Frank
Frank was an Eagle. That's
yeah.
But
no, you're right. Like those guys never really got the chance in Phoenix like they probably deserved, and now would they get it with Brooklyn? And now you're seeing them flourish.
I don't think Atlanta is very good. I think Atlanta
is better than Brooklyn.
I don't know. I've never been a big Clint Capella guy. I think he's just a rebounder. He doesn't really give you much on offense.
Yeah, but does he need to be on that team? I mean, he just
that's a
role.
I think so, because there's Trey.
Yeah.
Who's their other scorer on that team?
Murray.
Trey and Murray. Dejounte Murray.
And then
Trey.
you got off the bench.
None of the others score.
Yeah, the bench guy. What, Bogdanovich or whatever it is?
Bogdanovich.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing consistent. Nothing that you can rely on. They're just...
They're very hot and cold players.
When it comes to the playoffs, they need a superstar, the Nets.
Yeah, yes.
But they are one of the deepest teams in the NBA.
Oh, yes. Because of the trades that they made, that makes them very deep. I agree with you.
Right.
I think their future is very good, but I think that future is 3 years away.
So,
do you think they're better than Cleveland? No, I think Cleveland's set up to be
Cleveland
better.
Is 1,000 times better.
Yeah, Cleveland's set up to be better. Are they better than Boston? No. Are they better than Milwaukee? No. Milwaukee's still got 3 years of Giannis and Middleton and Holiday together.
Yeah, but you're going at all the top tier. Lance, yes, this is exactly why. Lance says the Nets are closer than they are with KD and Kyrie.
I agree.
100% fact, because you have to look at the construction of the team. They're a superstar away now. Before, they had at one point, 3 superstars eating up their cap, in that if that experiment doesn't work, you don't have the luxury. Now they're going to be a much better financial team.
Right.
They're a much better built team. They play really solid defense. But what they need, and we saw it, they need somebody who can take over a fourth quarter.
A reliable go-to guy.
If they can go and get somebody like that, I think absolutely.
And let's not kid ourselves. It is Brooklyn, right? It is the New York market. It's going to attract big-time stars. So they should be able to get someone, you would think. I don't know the free agent market, who's going to be available this year, if there's anyone. But if there is someone, Brooklyn's got to be a place of destination for that person.
I'm just saying, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson played as many playoff games in a Nets uniform already as KD and Kyrie.
Right.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting that Ben is even on that.
Yeah, whatever that situation is.
That is awful.
Yeah.
There we go. Lance doesn't.
Yeah, listen. I'm all for the Sixers going on. I hope the Sixers go on. I I'm just naive. I look at history, and I just don't. It just doesn't match up well for me. That's
Right.
all. It just doesn't match up well.
Lance, you have to look at the situation. That team took 3 superstars away in the last year, in a year time span.
3 Hall of Famers.
3 Hall of Fame players. And put a bunch of guys, one guy who you think's a good role player, maybe a number 3 on a team. Another guy who was very inconsistent, and they built a team with depth.
Yeah.
And for a team that did not have much time to put a chemistry together, that was in an awful situation, that has another disgruntled superstar he's injured. He's got, mental health issues. He's got I don't want to play
can't play
issues.
Yep.
I don't want to shoot issues. For that team, down the stretch, when consensus had them not even getting close to making the playoffs and completely falling off the table, is a lot to say for that team. So I think that you're really undervaluing, and you're going by the technicality of, we saw. Well, so what is Dallas then? Because Dallas went and got Kyrie Irving, and they
fell off the table.
They were like 6-11 or 5-11 or 5-13 or something.
Right.
Whatever it was.
Mean, they legit went from being a championship contender to making that trade, and then it just imploding.
I'm pretty sure they correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody wants to drop in the chat. I'm fairly certain that they were like 3rd or 4th in the West when they made that deal.
I agree. I think they were 4th.
They were closing in, I think, on like 3.
Yep.
And they didn't even make the buy.
It was a legit implosion.
Yeah.
To where there's rumors of Lucas saying, "I want out."
Yeah.
Like, that's how bad it was when they traded and got a superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brooklyn won that deal. Yes, they did.
So here it is. Evil Curtis. The Nets are in the same situation the Cavs from last year. They're a
Yes, they
superstar
are.
away from being a true contender. And I agree. Again,
they're in the same situation that Miami was in before they got Jimmy Butler, right? They had a ton of potential. They had a ton of young guys. But they needed that guy. And once they got Jimmy Butler, they became a real team. Now, I know that they're on the downside now, but I'm talking older. 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing, too, with the Nets, right? You look at that team, and they are – like, when we look at what they were before, right, with KD, Kyrie, and everything, the issue was, first of all, can we keep KD on the floor health-wise?
Yep.
Can we keep Kyrie on the floor for all the off-field stuff that had been going on? And then obviously, I don't care what his decision is with a vaccine, but that's a factor at that time of being on the court.
Yeah.
James Harden.
Can you keep him happy playing with those guys?
Yeah,
that was James Harden's issue.
James Harden wasn't really, I think Kyrie kind of drove that desire to get out of there.
And he quit on them.
Yeah, he was done. He was done with Kyrie.
He legit quit and said, I'm hurt. I'm not playing.
He was done with Kyrie. And then you went out and you have Ben Simmons, who has barely played.
Yeah.
You had at that point you had aging players like what's his name?
You went through a coach change where you got rid of a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
right. And
they had a guy who's not a head coach.
Yeah.
You had old aging veterans like Blake Griffin. Like, what about that team tells you they're closer than a young up and coming team that is one player away? That went 500 when they were expected to go 200
in the toilet,
or 250. Come on, man! Like, you gotta. People fall in love with these like superstar names, and they're like, "What do you mean? How could they be closer?" It's possible.
They're closer because it's like addition by subtraction, right?
Correct.
They got rid of all the headaches, and they did it the right way.
Except for one.
Yeah, he'll be gone soon. They got rid of all their distractions and then added talent, but also added back their draft capital they got rid of. So, yes, their future is very bright. I just don't think they're a good team as it sits right now.
Yeah.
Right, and that's all I'm saying.
John Castiglione says, I think one of the things that we didn't hear much mentioned about the Sixers series was how good we did on the glass. Even without Joel yesterday, we dominated rebounding the ball, and Tobias stepped up big time. Yes.
Does Does that happen against Boston?
Yes.
It's great that it happened against Brooklyn. Brooklyn's not a real contender and a real team. Does it happen against Boston? I don't see it, right? And I don't know what Robert Williams' status is in Boston. I
great.
don't. But I know they got Al Horford, Tatum,
Al
Brown. They all you say that, but he's dominated Joel in his career.
No, I mean,
Stop it. He has. You have to agree to that.
He's been awful in this playoff series.
He's dominated Joel Embiid throughout his career.
No, he has not played.
Yes, he has.
This is a different Joel Embiid. It's not the same player. He was
You're
able
right.
He was
You're
able
right.
to shut Joel down when Joel was getting impatient and standing back and being content with taking shots from the 3-point line because there was nobody else around him.
Correct.
This is different. He didn't dominate Joe this year. Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
This season, every game with the exception of one.
Right.
And I think at that point the Sixers were missing a bunch of players.
Right.
Every game was close, like within a basket or two baskets. I mean, hell, they won one game. The other game they lost by the smallest 0.2 of a second ever because Joe hit a full court shot, but it was two-tenths of a second after.
Listen, I agree with you. It's a different feel here in Philadelphia this year.
And here's the thing, too.
I just need to see it before I really believe it.
Well, here's the thing, too, John. Michael Jordan couldn't beat the Pistons. How many years did they absolutely dominate?
2 years,
Chicago.
I think, right?
More than that.
Was it?
Took him, I think, his fourth try to get past.
Was it that long?
And listen, it is interesting that this series. You know, I use the term often, and I'll use it again. This series between Boston and the Hawks is a ghost of our playoff ghosts or pass.
Okay,
this is the Hawks in a series we should have won.
Yeah,
gave away.
Game
Ben
7
Simmons literally gave the ball away.
Sorry, cursing.
Ben literally said, "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to. Here you go." That literally gave the game away to another guy who can't shoot, and Matisse Thybulle. And then obviously our haunted past of Boston. I think this is the year. I feel it. This team is different. This team is not the same team that Boston has played before. And I will tell you, as opposed to this team being on the upswing,
right,
the Boston Celtics are a lesser version of what they were last year, and they are not coached as well.
I 100% agree with you with the coaching.
Gap is closer.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's just I know. I mean, I don't know what your level of competition is. What you played at, but I'm sure you understand that demons of the past haunt you in the present.
If you
right?
let them.
And they have them. Let's not kid ourselves. If it's Philly, Boston, that's all you're going to hear in the media. Boston dominates. Boston's the favorite. Boston has owned Philly. That's all you're going to hear. You hear it from our own fan base. All right, you hear it from me. There's a couple of people in the chat that are just saying you can't get by Boston. Because of that fear, does James Harden and Joel Embiid overcome that? I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on it. I'm seeing right, Joel Embiid now injured, right? That's always been a fear of ours. Now that's starting to creep into our doubts and our mind. James Harden, is he going to go back to turnover James in the playoffs and disappearing in the fourth quarter like he always had? I think so, right? You're going to put Marcus Smart on him. Defensive Player of the Year last year. Is James Harden really going to be able to blow by him? No, he's not.
But I think this team can win without James Harden putting up 20 points. That's the difference.
If you got a healthy and good Joel.
Joel has got to be healthy, but guys like Tobias, guys like Maxey need to step up. And because I believe the best version of the Philadelphia 76ers is when Tyrese Maxey is your number two scorer.
Yep.
And Harden is your third option and distributor.
Yes.
So that's what I need. I don't need Harden to try to get me 30 points or 25 points.
And that's a great point. And I guess that's the optimism that the only optimism that I have is James Harden. It feels like he has stepped back and said, "Hey, Maxey, you need to be the guy. You are what I was 7 years ago."
Yeah.
Right. And Harden is looking like he's accepting that. I'm hoping so, because if James Harden takes 25 shots a game, we're losing the series.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to see that, unless obviously if Joe is out. John says, I think this Boston series goes 6 games with Atlanta, so maybe they'll be a little bit
Please.
tired after the first round.
Please.
let's get Joel and T.O.'s hyperbolic chamber. I think we can match up with that. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be great, yeah.
Rob Povia on the hockey. He's a
What's
hockey
up,
happy
Rob?
hour guy. Tuesday nights here on A2D Radio. Says, what's up, fam? 10-9-8.
76ers.
Agree to the poll. Regardless of that series, a team with Joe and Harden is always a finals contender. That's fair.
Yeah.
If Joe's healthy. I know everything's going to be if Joe's healthy, so I'm not going to repeat that after everything I say. Just for everybody out there, if you guys want to say, well, if he's healthy, if you drop in the chat. Drop anything you want in the chat. Let's talk. We want to hear from you guys. But I'm not going to repeat it every time I say something. Everything is always contingent on if Joe is healthy.
That's always been it for 5 years. That's what this has been in Philadelphia.
The only team I think that maybe is still a title, because I don't think Boston is a title contender without Jason Tatum.
Oh, yeah. You can say that pretty much about any team. If you look at Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee's down 2-1 right now.
Milwaukee.
Without Giannis. If Giannis comes back, they blow through Miami.
Well, they won that. They looked pretty good in that one game they won without Giannis. They won that.
They're down 2-1, right?
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Miami
right, but the
is
game
up
they won,
2-1.
I think, was without Giannis. They blew out.
No, I think that's the game Giannis got hurt.
No, well, he was out. I mean, he played like 2 minutes.
Okay.
It doesn't. I mean, he's out. You know.
Okay.
But here we go. Tom Hedrick says they better not bring Harden back.
Well, there's all kinds of rumors about that, but I don't want to get into that.
I don't want to dive into off season yet.
Yeah.
I don't think that they bring him back because I think he's going to get paid a lot of money.
I don't care.
Houston.
I don't care. I'm worried about this year, right? And that's it. I'm only talking this year. I want this year. If you want to get the off seasons, we got the Eagles coming around the corner.
I do feel like if they win a title and they decide to pay him as a thank you, I would have no problem with it, regardless of how bad the contract looks.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of a title, unless he's willing to take a smaller number, and listen, to the guy's credit, is he a 30-point scorer night guy anymore? No. But he's recreated himself to be, he's close to a max guy still.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not something we're going to dive into in terms, I'm talking about the Sixers.
Right.
In terms of paying a guy like that. But at his age,
you can't.
I think he's going to get paid elsewhere, and that's fine. Guess what?
Go get your money.
With what you saw with Ben Simmons since the trade, you have already won that trade, regardless of what happens.
I agree.
Nobody can look back and say, "I can't believe they made this trade," because
I was the one who said it.
Yeah,
I was the one who said we lost this deal, right? And I really thought Ben would turn it around. And, yeah, I'm eating crow. 100%. We got the better end of that deal no matter what happens.
You know, it's okay in those situations to eat crow on that because you want to be wrong in that kind of scenario.
100%. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, regardless of what happens with Harden, you have won the deal.
Yeah.
It is done. And I think he does move on next year.
Yeah.
Now, what they do, I would love to see them. I think this guy is the perfect player to play with Joel Embiid.
Are we talking all season here?
I'm just going to say this.
Right.
We're not going to dive in real deep.
All right.
But if they were to move on from James Harden, there's one player I would want. And they can afford him. They can move the Tobias contract. You will probably lose Tyrese Maxey.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Damian Lillard. There will never be a better, more fit player to play with Joel. Now, you worry about injuries. I understand that.
I got one name for you, but I listen, this is like...
You can save it if you want.
It's not say. I mean, yeah, it's LeBron. All right?
Oh, not a 39-year. He'll be 39 next year.
Give me LeBron for 2 years.
Are we getting LeBron so that we can put ourselves in a position to go get Bronny?
Give me LeBron for 2 years. If you're getting rid of Tobias, if you're like, I don't know what that situation in LA is going to look like at the end of the year, but yeah, I mean that's the guy I would. Whew, you know he wants to play with Joe.
No, give me Dame Dollar all day. Well, yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, like John had put on here, I'd love to see this series between the Celtics and the
beat each
Hawks
other
go a
up.
little bit extra. Yeah, 2-1 to Miami in the series.
Yep.
No shot the Eagles draft Bijan. If Carter or Tyree isn't there, they trade back. We're going to get into that in a minute.
Yep.
What's good, fellas? Brian Daly on the
What's
Hockey
up,
Happy
Bri?
Hour. Dame Lillard and Embiid, they get a chip from Mr. Wing. I agree. There's never been a player with his skill set and his ability to close out games that would make more sense to play with Joel Embiid than Damian Lillard.
You don't think that he's on the downside of his career, though, with the injuries?
I think injury-wise, but when he's on the court, he's still one of the top players in the league, and it's not even close. He's not. His skill set has not diminished.
Right.
He just has issues with staying on the court, and that's
that's
a
age.
concern.
I mean, that's age. That's what happens when you get older.
He's been that way his whole career, most of his career. I don't know if it's some guys are just like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I'll say this: regular season NBA doesn't matter.
Not at all.
I don't care
Not at all.
if he's on the court.
Especially now that 10 teams really get in.
If I can get him for 48 to 52 games a year, we make the playoffs, but he's good to go for the playoffs with Joel.
You can have him for 30 games and you probably make the playoffs. It's a joke.
But yeah, so we'll see how that series plays out. But great series for the Sixers. Encouraged by what we saw. And guys, if you want to keep talking, dropping in your comments on the Sixers upcoming round 2 series, potential matchups, feel free to do so. We're going to transition now into our Philadelphia Eagles talk because I don't know if you heard.
Okay.
Not sure if you heard, John. There's a
little rumor out there.
There's a little event. Word on the street is there's this little thing going on called the NFL draft.
Oh, the draft. Yes.
Don't know if you ever heard of the event. And the Philadelphia Eagles are picking 10th, which I wish I could remember the year.
The old luxury pick, right?
The Eagles
that's what we have.
Are the first. I think it's the first team to appear in a Super Bowl
and have a top 10.
To have a top 10 pick since I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, 2008.
I mean, I believe it. I'm surprised it's not even more than that.
That is crazy to me.
It 100% is. And like I just said, this is a pure luxury pick.
And you have to take it.
And you have to take it. I'm with you. You are not trading this pick. You are not moving down. You are taking, in my opinion, you're taking best player available. Whether you deem that to be Carter, whether you deem that to be Robinson, whether you deem that to be a quarterback. I don't know. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Right? This is a luxury pick that I am taking because no matter what, it's going to make your team deeper and better.
Yeah. I'm just looking, right? I could see Arizona trading out of 3.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of rumors right now that are dropping out that it looks like Houston is backing off taking a quarterback and looking like they're going Will Anderson.
Crazy. Yeah, and listen, that would throw the whole draft.
That throws everything for a loop because now, if I'm Arizona and that happens, I'm moving out of that pick because it just got 25 times more valuable, right?
Yeah.
So now you're going to talk about here comes the chips, here comes the dominoes, everything's going to fall in place. Who's moving up? Are you going to see a big jump? Are you going to see like a Tennessee try to get all the way up there? Are you going to see a small jump with Indy just trying to move up one spot to make sure they get Stroud?
Well, I think
right?
I could see Vegas jumping.
Vegas moving up.
I think I could see Vegas because you got to think too, right? Indianapolis is right there, and they could take a quarterback at this point.
Yes,
likely.
It looks like they will. Yeah.
So I could see Vegas jumping from 7 to 3.
Right.
And then that way Arizona doesn't move too far down the board. They're going to get a high value for that because Vegas is going to be paying the premium to get the number 2 quarterback out of the draft, whoever they deem is the number 2 quarterback out of the draft.
You want to know what I would do if I was Arizona right now? And I don't know if it's going to lay out like this, but if it does, if Young goes 1, Will Anderson goes 2, you're sitting at 3. You trade that to Indy, right?
Mm-hmm.
for them to move up, and you get whatever you can for that one spot. Then you take the 4 pick and you trade it to Vegas if they want to go up and get Richardson.
I mean, you could.
Right?
You could, yeah.
And now Arizona's sitting real pretty with a boatload of picks, and you're still at number 6, probably going to get the guy that you wanted anyway.
See, so here's my thing with that. I think if they don't do 2 trades, right, I think the value, because after Indianapolis, Vegas is your next pick, right?
Yep. No, Vegas is at 6.
I'm saying that needs a quarterback.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're the next one at 7, because
right.
I'm just looking at the draft order, right? Seattle's not just paid a quarterback.
Yep.
Detroit has Goff.
And you have it right. Seattle, you don't know. I'm not going to discredit them as not getting a quarterback, because if you deem Richardson that high of a ceiling, it would be a perfect situation where you could sit him, right, to learn them up for a couple of years,
right.
So it depends on how teams value Anthony Richardson,
right.
The top 2 guys are going to be the top 2 guys. It's Anthony Richardson who values him as a real starting quarterback.
Yeah. And obviously there's other quarterback. Levis is out there as well.
Right.
I think, so with your scenario, there's no real benefit then for, say, the Raiders to trade up to 4 after Indy's already. The whole appeal and how you can maximize your return is, hey, Las Vegas, hey, Raiders, Indy's taking the top quarterback here.
Yep.
So if you want to jump them and take the quarterback,
if you want C.J. Stroud,
pay me a ton of money.
If you want C.J. Stroud, you need to come up and pony up. Yes.
So I think that actually in that way they get more back, because I don't think the second half of your scenario actually would happen, because it's not necessary. If there was another team in between them that needed a quarterback, like I don't see Seattle, and maybe I'm wrong. You are right. For them, it would be a luxury that they could.
It's not even that, right? But there's other teams behind you that need a quarterback too.
Right.
Do they jump you?
Right.
If you value Anthony Richardson at all, you're making a trade to go up, because you don't want someone else to give him the same value and then them go up.
Yeah. See, when you talked about Seattle, it almost makes my point of why you get more from Vegas just having them jump to 3.
You might.
Because you could say, hey, Raiders, Indy's taking a quarterback.
Yeah.
And guess what? Looks like Seattle might be thinking about taking one to sit behind Geno for a couple years. So unless you want to be stuck with Will Levis or whatever other quarterbacks are out there, or not get a quarterback at this point, it's going to cost you a lot, but we'll get you into number 3.
Yeah, and like I said, Tennessee's calling, right? You know New Orleans is trying something. There's so many teams. Carolina, if they take Young, they're out. But there's a lot. Atlanta, right? There's a lot of other teams that are going to be looking to maybe move up if you can. So yeah, you're right. Maybe that trade looks like a RG3 trade, right? Well, Washington gave up a boatload to move up a couple spots to get RG3.
Yeah. Oh God.
Right? And so maybe it's a deal like that Vegas gives up to move up to get CJ Stroud.
John's saying a lot of teams can move up: Detroit, Seattle, Atlanta, Vegas,
yes,
Tennessee, Tampa, Minnesota. I'm looking at more of the top end here, though, guys. I don't think it benefits, say, Arizona at 3 to move all the way down to, like we saw. Detroit could swap, I guess. I think Detroit.
If you're getting 3 first rounders, you're not entertaining.
I think I think they're going to keep rolling with Goff. That's my personal opinion.
I agree.
I think it would behoove them to utilize that pick to fill in some of the defensive needs, as opposed to, or maybe another offensive line.
Yep.
As opposed to worrying about getting a new quarterback, particularly if you're not getting the 1 or 2 quarterback in Stroud or Bryce
Correct.
Young.
If you're getting a guy who you're not as high on as everyone else, yeah.
But I'm just looking, and who are some of the other names he got? Seattle, Atlanta.
Atlanta's a big one.
I thought I saw that Atlanta did not have plans to pursue a quarterback. I could be wrong.
Well, they better have some type of plan, because I don't think Desmond Riddle's the answer.
Yeah. So Dynasty's saying, right, but if a Richardson situation, it makes sense for Detroit. It does.
Makes sense for Seattle, too.
But Goff is still fairly young. Like, quarterbacks aren't like running backs. They play into their mid to late 30s. Goff is fairly young. I just
Do you think you go win with Jared Goff? That's the question.
Like, to me, Detroit is close enough that they shouldn't be looking for the quarterback of the future. I think they could win with Jared Goff. I really do.
Well, if you think you go win with Jared Goff, then of course you're not moving.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, is he a quarterback they win? You saw he did take a team to the Super Bowl. So.
They were that close. He did.
Right.
They were that close last year to making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think more of the issue they had and why they didn't make the playoffs was not offensively. It was defensively.
Correct.
They laid up a lot of points in some games to where they put up a lot of points almost every game offensively.
Yeah, you're going to get a real healthy Williams. Jameson Williams now is going to be here for a full year. So, yeah, they're going to add some pieces that are going to make them better offensively, too.
Yeah, I look at Detroit and I think, yeah, like, to me, we're talking luxury for us at 10, right?
Yeah.
But, like, when I look at, like, Seattle or I look at Detroit, they're knocking on the door.
Especially Detroit, because that division's garbage.
Yeah. It's open for the taking now, and especially with Rodgers leaving the division.
Yeah.
They are on the cusp. And I think that Seattle is too, because that's not. I mean, it's a competitive division. It depends on how the Rams come back this year.
I think Geno Smith had a year that he'll never have again.
Maybe it is, or maybe he's just finally with the right coach
in
the right system.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys, find a system, find a coach, have the right weapons around them, and you maximize what they have.
You're right.
In fairness to Geno, I don't think they ever had much of a team around him in New York.
No. No.
So,
they never did. They never gave him a real chance to succeed. This is hopefully what he is.
Yeah, you got to think how tough that is to come in and basically replace a franchise icon as well, and Russell Wilson, who was a joke last year. But yeah, I don't see a team like a Detroit or a Seattle who are this close in divisions that are winnable for them.
Right.
Wasting a top 10 pick on a guy that's going to sit on the bench for 2 or 3 years. I can't.
I'm with you.
If we were talking about like Detroit picks later, right? 18.
Yeah.
He won't be. But if Richardson was there at 18, I could be like, okay, I could see.
100% then. Yeah.
I don't see a top 10 pick, and particularly the 6th overall pick.
Yeah, I don't think you're taking – are you really taking Hooker? No. Are you taking Levis? I don't think so. Right? So you're probably right. They're going to probably fill out that defense.
Yeah. Being on the upswing, they won't find themselves picking in the top 10 for exactly same thing. And that's why I said, and John, I think you were in our chat the other day. John Castiglione. We talked about this the other day on A2D Wednesday night as well. I was in the maybe you trade the pick. I know we have a ton of picks next year.
Yeah.
But maybe we get some assets because once you're paying the quarterback and you still have to pay Devontae, and you're probably going to have to restructure Antonio or AJ at some point.
Yep.
Maybe having way more assets for next year and beyond will benefit this team going forward. But I have come around in that the more I think about it, this team, unless they pull off another how he tends to do it, unbelievable trade to get in the top 10.
Unless it's too good to be true.
This team will not be in the top 10 again for a long time. So I feel like you still have your pick at 30. You take your top 10 pick. And it is a luxury to be in the top 10. And if you can go out and you can get – so let's talk about what are you doing with 10?
I mean, and this is why I don't trade 10 is because there is a multiple of picks that you can take here that are going to improve your team. Robinson, right? If we don't make a trade for whatever that rumor is out there,
right?
All right. Robinson would be a hell of a pick for us. I'm okay with it. I don't want it, but I'm okay with it.
Oh, I love it.
All right. And I know a lot of people are down on this, but if you give me Paris Johnson or you give me Broderick Jones or any of those offensive linemen, Skoronson or whatever, I'm okay with that too. We have aging right tackle. We have you're losing a center. Depth on the offensive line is never a bad problem. Okay?
Yeah.
If Carter
I
falls to you, I'm running the ticket up. All right? Because that's ultimately maybe the best player in this draft.
oh my God, it's
Okay? So yeah, I'm okay if you take Branch. I'm okay if you take a corner, whichever one you deem. I don't love it, but I'm okay because it's a luxury pick.
Yeah.
There's really not a bad selection here unless it's a quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah. So for me, the one thing that the Eagles have always done very well, and it is mid rounds finding offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I don't feel like offensive line needs to be done this early. It's a deep draft. You'll get guys in later rounds.
Are you really going to be upset though? I'm not.
Yes.
You would be? Okay.
I don't feel like they need it. I feel like for a pick this valuable for this team at this point to waste on a lineman when they have guys in place now, they have other guys that are young and waiting to play, and they could get if they took a lineman at 30, I'm in.
Oh, okay. All right.
I can't use 10 on an offensive lineman. And I would, we talked about Carter.
Yeah.
If he's there, I think he's the exception. But other than that, I made this argument on Wednesday. I'm going to make it again here on the Rant Booth. I'm normally not a go draft the running back guy.
No. Yeah.
But this team with A.J. Brown, the one wide receiver is locked up. He's going to have to be extended at some point.
Correct.
He's locked into a contract. Dallas Goedert is locked into his contract. Jalen Hurts now, we know his numbers for the next 6 years is in his contract. Devontae's going to get paid after this year.
Yep.
Most of your line
is taken care of.
Is taken care of with the exception of Kelsey's a year by year.
If you have to restructure lane, you will again.
And it always happens, never fails.
Yep.
The missing piece is the running back. Now you're hearing all these Derrick Henry things too, right? Oh my God, that Akbar Bajabiyamila, I think I said his name right.
Yeah,
he played in the NFL. He's also the co-host of American Ninja Warrior in the summers. Put out that he had got
a rumor tweet. It's not anything but that.
He had gotten word that this deal was in the works. We'll just say it that way.
Okay.
First of all, if they do that, and I'm dead ass serious, I'm still drafting Bijan.
Wow.
I'm still drafting Bijan. I'm going out. I'm running Penny, Bijan, and Derrick Henry down everybody's throats all season.
Yeah, you're talking about three. And I think we said it last week or a couple of weeks ago when you were on the show. I am a huge Rashad Penny fan. I am a huge Rashad. I think that guy could be a top 5 talented running back in this league.
If he stayed healthy, absolutely.
If he can stay healthy. He has every piece of the puzzle at running back. He blocks, he catches, he runs for speed, he runs with power. He doesn't have fumbling issues. He has weak knees.
Yep.
That's his issue. And I think he would have a spectacular year if we could get 14, 15 games out of him this year.
Yep.
All right. That is the one reason I am not going and drafting Bijan. I'm trading for Derrick Henry, but I'm not drafting Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I can't, especially with this running back class. I am in love with a lot of running backs in this class. You got Tucker, who I think could be a great running back out of Syracuse. You got the other running back, Johnson, out of Texas, who I think is going to be a tremendous running back.
Yeah.
All right. And he just didn't get any playing time because he was behind Robinson.
Right.
You could get these guys in 5th, 6th, 7th round. And I saw a stat yesterday, and I don't hold too much weight to it, considering what Pro Bowlers are now. but the last 10 years, the most Pro Bowlers at the running back position have come out of the 5th, 6th, and 7th round.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, and that there's no maybe,
Yeah.
it's true.
No, I know.
Right, there's been 22 of them in that late of a round. I just think that's the trend in the NFL. Maybe Bijan is the exception. He will be the only first round running back probably taken, unless Gibbs goes very late. I'm just not that. I can't do it. I have principles and rules, and I'm not a running back is not in that scenario for me.
I have the same one, except for when it's Bijan Robinson. I believe I believe in having a principle and a rule,
Right?
but having a hard stand on it and not being willing to be flexible can make you miss can't miss opportunities. That could be the difference.
Right.
The thing this team is missing is a number one reliable.
Okay.
I
there
love
it is.
Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
I loved it too. We discussed it. We raved about what a great signing was.
Yeah.
Healthy dude is one of the best. He's a 6-yard per carry runner.
Correct.
But
that can do it anywhere on the field.
But pair him with this kid. This kid is Miles Sanders on steroids.
Oh, he's
the way he catches
better than Miles
That's
Sanders.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The way he catches the ball out of the backfield, how explosive he can be, how elusive he can be. I just think in a luxury situation, if we were in a more of a needs situation,
right,
I would never take the running
or if this was our only pick in the first round,
I would never take the running back.
I'm not doing it. Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Again, I'm not going to be upset if we take him.
Right.
I'll be happy if we take him. But if it was me on the clock, I'm probably not.
Right.
I'm probably not.
So real quick, Chris has been asking about Embiid. No word yet.
Yeah.
Doc said 50-50 yesterday, but, that's a lot of time between now and then. I think personally, and there's no insight to this, I think it's more gamesmanship. They don't really need to announce what his status is at this point.
You wait as long as you – he's day-to-day.
So
that's all you guys say.
He's going to be day-to-day. Maybe he'll miss a game, but he should be fine.
Yeah, you have at least 7 days, so you got to announce that.
Yeah. Chiquita says, hi, John.
Hey.
John says the difference is usually running backs drafted high go to terrible teams with a ton of holes. That's true. John, that's a fair point. Eagles are not like that. They have the offensive line.
True. Very true.
He says hi to Chiquita. Jason says exactly, I think, to you maybe, or maybe he's saying that to John Castigliano. If you don't have a chance at Carter Anderson, you grab B. Agreed? Now, I'm going to throw these last couple comments. He says, oh, okay, thanks. I hope he's back. No one else would be more productive for us than him. I agree. He steps in day one.
You're probably right, but doesn't Branch?
Barkley. I think he's I agree with that. I think he's the best running back prospect since Saquon.
He could be. I'm not saying that he's not. I just don't know what. I don't value him to the next guy, Gibbs, and then down even further, like I said, to a Tucker or a Johnson or any of those other guys. I don't see that being that huge of a gap.
Yeah.
Only because of one reason. It's the running back position. And that's maybe unfair to running backs, and especially to Robinson, who is an elite talent. He really is.
Yes.
I just don't think the gap for running backs is that big. I mean, we see it every single year. Kansas City takes a 7th-round running back. He becomes the guy. The Rams get a guy that was undrafted. There's just so many teams that have late-round running backs. You don't see that at any other position.
Yeah.
You just don't.
I am seeing more and more that a lot of people are thinking the Eagles are going to trade down a couple picks.
I hate that.
I hope
I
not.
hate that. I hate that. I hate that.
If it's not any of those three guys that we mentioned, I'm just going positionally here. I'm not going to give names out.
Okay.
Just because I think I'm looking at the positional need of whoever's going to be. I'm looking at secondary. Whether it's cornerback or safety.
Yep.
I could see them going defensive end here.
Right.
or as Tom loves, edge rusher.
Yeah.
Going on the edge.
That's never a bad pick.
Yeah.
Never a bad pick. If you're trading down to 14, who in those 3 picks,
Joey Porter Jr. will be around there.
Yeah, but what's the difference between 10 and 14? I just don't. I'm not waiting. I'm not hoping. Like, who are you targeting at 14 that you can't target at 10? Why are you going to let those couple picks maybe take that target? Or someone slide
the
up?
idea is if all 3 of their guys are gone, which we expect at least one of them, obviously, Anderson's
Yeah.
But, could they trade up?
No, there's no trading up.
With all the assets they have, could they trade up to get Will Anderson? They have 14 picks next year.
No.
14 picks next year.
You're not. Your Will Anderson's never going to fall to you. But you're hoping a Carter falls to you. Like, there's just no value of trading up for Will Anderson.
If you can go up,
you're going to go all the way up to 2?
You can get him at 3 probably. Well, maybe if
I'm not taking that chance.
The Texans take him, but I don't think they do.
There's going to be so many people calling Arizona that you're going to be in a dogfight to move up. No, I'm not doing it. Nope.
But then you might be able to get him at 5 if you can move up to 5.
Correct. Now, if you start seeing him slip,
because I think your next pick, right? If the Texans don't take him,
yep,
and Arizona is willing to trade out of that pick,
and someone goes
to get somebody
to
go get the quarterback, let's just say the Raiders trade up to 7.
Right.
Arizona drops back to 7.
Yep.
The Raiders are in.
Now you got to get above Arizona.
So now you're looking at Indy, who I think takes a quarterback.
Well, no, maybe they don't now, right?
Maybe
because Richardson might have been their guy that they lose at the 3 pick.
Maybe.
Right?
Could be. I think at the end of the day they still take the quarterback.
Are they taking Levis? Maybe they don't love Levis.
I don't know.
Right? And then Will Anderson's their guy.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
No matter where it's at, Will Anderson Jr. is going to be the first player taken non-quarterback. Are we in agreement there?
Yeah.
Right?
I would agree.
So you're going to have to get into the top 4 probably to guarantee get him, and there's no value in that to me.
Maybe if you use Nola's second, Arizona's not worth it, especially being a spot for a quarterback. So, yeah, what I was explaining was more my idea of I'm fairly confident I think Arizona trades out of that spot.
So am I.
So I think in my scenario, the Raiders move up to 3. So you're looking at trying to get into 4 or 5.
It has to be 4.
To get Anderson.
It has to be 4. You hope Indy's so dejected that they lost the top 3 quarterbacks that they want to move out. And they do it at kind of a discounted rate just to get out of that spot. That's the only way I'm doing it. I'm not giving up 3 first-rounders to move up 6 spots. Yeah. I'm not doing it.
John says, the thing I love about the idea of taking Bijan is the fact that it would help Hurts, who we just paid. And then Jordan Coughlin says, I'm not taking Carter. Way too many red flags. I'm taking Bijan. I don't remember if we talked on this show about it or not.
The red flags issue?
Yeah, I don't want to dive super into it, but I mean, obviously, what happened in terms of the motor vehicle incident?
Yeah,
it's awful, but
it's a stupid decision.
He's a young kid.
It's a stupid decision.
Who was part of drag racing? Which, if you grew up in Philadelphia, plenty of people were down there doing that shit.
Yep.
So, I don't want to hold it against him.
No.
In terms of this is a character flaw, because there's a lot of really dumb decisions that kids his age have made.
Yeah.
Not showing up for your pro day and
showing
shape
out of play. Yeah.
Quitting halfway through. That's an issue. I could see that.
I can see that being a red flag. That's more of a red flag than anything else.
I will say this, though. I'll push back on it and say, you see this locker room? You see Jason Kelsey? You see
Brandon Graham,
Reddick, Brandon Graham,
Fletcher
Cox,
Lane.
being around the work ethic
Yeah.
of Jalen Hurts,
Yeah.
you think that kid's going to get away with half-assing it and not putting the effort in?
No.
This might be the best place for him to go.
Correct.
To get
And that's where I'm at with it is if you want to mold a kid who has questionable decision making, put him on this team with this leadership. You put him on a real winning team that has leadership. If that doesn't change a kid's decision making, that kid's he's going to the wayside. There's nothing that's going to fix him.
And that's the thing, right? Do you have confidence in your organization that you have a strong enough support group in place that if you bring a kid who has had some question marks on his decision making,
Yeah.
that these guys are going to be like taking him under the wing and showing him the right way to be a professional?
I'm going to even take it a step further, right? Yes, I believe that we have the leadership to put him under the wing and mold him the right way.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
if it doesn't work, I also trust this organization that we have enough depth at D-tackle that it's not going to matter.
Agreed.
Right? That it's not going to matter.
I do agree.
So that's if Carter is at 10, there's no other pick.
Yeah, you don't take Bijan.
There's no other pick.
I mean, the dude was a consensus top 2 or 3 pick before
the top pick
stuff started.
Yeah, and that's the. No one's talking anything else.
Chiquita says, facts. What's up, fellas? That's from Don Don.
What's up, Don?
What's up, Don Don? John, I think Philly would be the best spot for Jalen Carter. Take him ahead of Robinson. Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean would be like a warm blanket waiting for Carter.
More. Oh, my God. You put those two guys in front of Dean, and I think we said this last time. This is why I'm so high on Carter. Nakobe Dean will be a stud middle linebacker if you could get blockers off of him.
Yep.
The guy can absolutely fly and cover and hit. He can do it all. He's just undersized.
Yeah.
He has problems shedding tackles.
Yep.
If we could eliminate that issue, he is a stud.
Yeah. Then we have Don Don saying currently the 2 Vegas you should monitor. I think it's prospects. You should monitor. Will Levis is better. Oh, in Vegas. He's 2 Vegas betting odds. Gotcha. Is the betting favorite at 2, and Bijan Robinson is the favorite to the Falcons. That's interesting.
I like that for the Falcons.
Yeah.
I really do. They need
a
a guy that they could count on offensively because they have nothing else.
Hey, put him with Cordarrelle?
Yeah.
I
mean.
I love Cordarrelle. He's not a number 1 back, but you put as the handcuff to him, though?
Correct. If you could take, 60 snaps off of Patterson, he will be a great back. He can't do it all year. He just can't. Yeah. He can't.
Got Robert Gilchrist. Go Birds. All right, so number 30, before we slide over to our last 2 topics. Number 30. So where are you going with 30? Go ahead.
It depends. If a corner falls, I might look at corner. If Branch falls, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I think both of them are very unlikely. There's 2 guys that I'm falling in love with, and maybe I'm reaching a little bit on them. But Washington, the tight end from Georgia, I'm falling in love with this kid. Absolute monster of a man. 6'8", 220, can absolute fly down the seam. I'm falling in love with him. And the other guy is I forget what college he came from, but the center, Smiley, I believe his name is. He's got like a hyphen name.
Mm-hmm.
I like that pick.
Okay.
All right, and those are the 2 guys that I'm looking at 30. Gibbs is not a bad one either.
No. I go positionally. You guys are the name professionals over here. Positionally, if we go running back,
okay.
I'm going secondary help here.
Okay.
If we don't go for the running back and we either go for secondary or tackle, Maybe this is where I go offensive line. I still think I would wait till the second or third round,
Okay.
but I think I would go for whatever I didn't go on the other end. I'm going either. I think defensively, if you don't get Bijan Robinson here,
Right.
I think these 2 picks need to be defensive picks.
Okay.
I'm so confident in the way this team drafts offensive linemen later in the draft that I don't feel like it needs to be a
High.
rush.
Okay.
But you do have. I know you locked them in, but you have 2 cornerbacks right now that are
Aging.
entering their early to mid 30s, which
And
is older.
let's not kill ourselves. Listen. I think they also played great last year, but they gotta be on the decline.
Yeah.
Right. They gotta be on the decline. So at some point you gotta fill that gap, and you can't wait until the season of. If you can fill it earlier, let's do it.
Yeah. Agreed.
The only other guy I do like at 30, if he's there, would be the linebacker, I believe, from Clemson or Syracuse, the Simpson.
Okay.
I believe it's Trent Simpson.
Yep.
I would be okay with that pick too. I know we just don't draft linebackers, but I think he would be a great player.
Yeah. Well, we don't draft linebacker, and we have a linebacker who's waiting to play from last year.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Who was on a national champion.
We did lose a couple. I mean, it's just we are going to have to get a linebacker, but it's usually an undrafted guy that we sign that we try to turn into a great player.
Either that or, one of those training camp cuts.
Yep.
Don't bring somebody.
No, you're bringing a veteran.
Bring a veteran in at some point.
Yep.
So, do you want to do wings or you want to do Phillies here?
Yeah, I'll get in the. I don't know if anyone who knows me knows I'm a big lacrosse guy. Indoor box lacrosse. I'm a huge Philadelphia Wings fan, season ticket holder, and we had everything fall in place last night to where we have an outside shot at making the playoffs. So, just if anyone's really looking for something to watch at 3:00 today, the Wings are playing Albany. It's a must-win game. I ask you to check it out, follow it, like it. They're fun to watch, guys. 3:00 ESPN Plus. We'll have the game on. Must win for the Philadelphia Wings to get into the playoffs. If we get into the playoffs, this is going to be a dangerous team. We made a couple big trades in the season when we were doing really bad in the beginning of the year. We made a couple really big trades where we got the leading point scorer last year in Mitch Jones. So hopefully we can find a way into the playoffs and make a big splash. But if you guys are looking for something to whet your appetite for a little bit of competition at 3:00, check it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and they are fun. I mean, I don't follow lacrosse like that, but my dad played. I had a lacrosse stick when I was a kid, and it is a fun sport to watch.
Great sport, especially indoors. Like, I know everyone looks at the college game and the PLL and stuff like that. It's not as entertaining. The indoor sport, wow. I mean, there's fights, there's big time hits, there's up and down the floor pace and action. It's a great sport to really watch.
I do watch. A lot of times the college championships for lacrosse. Game? I watch their playoffs. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, and they're actually going to be held in Philadelphia this year.
There you go.
So
I might even go.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Hopefully, we get a good turnout for it.
Yeah, so check them out. Support the Wings, guys, and lacrosse. That's it's another one of those kind of fun sports, and Philadelphia has everything.
It really does.
Good thing about being here.
Our soccer team's great. The Wings are really fun in their upcoming. We had a sellout the last home game of the year, which is really exciting and optimistic with going into the future next year. So hopefully we get back to the dynasty that we were in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move to the Phillies, Don says, Chrome, do you like the Jalen Hurts deal? We could talk about it briefly. Yes.
Is there anyone that says no?
Yes. I mean, you look at the guarantee money. That's what you look at. A lot of the rest is obviously it's guaranteed against injury.
What's he making this year? Only like $9 million, and then next year it's only like 14?
I think it's like $6 million this year.
It's ridiculous.
You got to look at what he's making and then compare him to some of the other quarterbacks. And this is why the guarantee is so important, right? He's making half over the next 3 years of what Daniel Jones is making.
Yeah.
Think about that.
And the best part of it is he's going to restructure.
Correct.
Right?
That's why they backloaded a lot of it.
Correct. All that backload money, when he restructures, guess what we're going to do? Make it all signing bonus.
Yeah.
It's going to be all signing bonus, and his cap hit is never, ever going to reach a Patrick Mahomes cap hit.
Yeah.
Never.
And that's the thing, though, right? So this whole deal is – I thought you always finna talk about the Red Wings. Nope, not on this show, buddy. That's the thing, too. He says Howie's a genius. This is the whole Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes deal, right? Where the quarterback is getting paid. He's going to make that money. Now, how much of it is incentive, which we saw.
Yeah.
Probably approximately, give or take, about $70+ million is incentive written. Some of it's a signing bonus.
Yeah. A lot of it will be signing bonus when it's all said and done.
Right. It's 110 guaranteed, 179 over against injury. So if he gets hurt, he's going to get a boost to 179. But you look at the way the deal is set up, it gives them financial flexibility. It's going to allow them to re-sign Devontae. It's going to allow them to do whatever they feel like they need to do in order to restructure A.J. Brown down the road.
Yep.
And it's going to allow them to
still be able to be a valuable assets in the free agent market.
Yeah.
Right? I thought going into this year, going into last year, the same way, man, we're stuck up against the cap. We're never going to be able to get free agents. We're never going to be able to get anything. We're going to trade draft picks because we don't have the money for it. Howie is just a magician. Just a magician.
It's crazy.
How we have $18 million in cap space or whatever it is right now is wow. It's just wow.
Yeah.
There's no other words to say.
It's true. So, no, I think I love the deal. It's lined them up to continue to be, honestly, let's call it for what it is, the standard in the NFC, because the AFC is a tough road.
The Mecca. We are the Mecca franchise in NFL right now. It was the Patriots. It was the Patriots.
Kansas City.
Kansas City, okay. All right. Kansas City. Definitely in the NFC, like you said. Yeah. It has been a pleasure after all the hate and abuse that Howie took in the past. It's been an absolute pleasure watching this guy work. And it's crazy to say that about a front office person. But it really has.
I think he learned from his first go-around. I think he learned from taking the step back and watching Chip Kelly do things.
Remember the abuse he took from that?
Who, Chip or him?
No, Howie.
Listen, he was not good in his first tenure. There are certain things he did, but even coming back here. But we talked about this the other day. I wonder, because there's been a lot of stuff that's come out over the years. His guy was Justin Jefferson.
Correct.
It was all the scouts and the final decision within the team that they were going to go with Jalen Reagor.
Right.
But that he was not on the Reagor bandwagon. So you do think about a lot of this stuff, and you're like, man, how many were Howie picks and how many weren't?
Right. Was he really as bad as we think, or did he just get outvoted a lot of the time?
And that's I'm curious of. But hey, listen, for us, it's a pleasure to be able to have a general manager who can do the things that he does. And right, Don, that's part of the equation too. I thought it was so important for them to extend his. Or to extend Jalen before Joe Burrow, before
Herbert,
Justin Herbert,
all those guys,
and honestly before Lamar.
Yeah.
John says, how depressing is it watching the hockey playoffs and the Flyers franchise feels so far away from it? We were going to jump into this, so
we're running out a little bit of time. We only got about 15 minutes left.
Do you want to do a quick hitter on this? Or, we could bypass Phillies if you really want to go talk about this.
I will give my quick rant, and then if you want to give a quick reply, then we'll get into Phillies. But I'm not even going to talk about the Flyers because they just stink. All right, so I'm not going to talk about them. But I do want to talk about this playoffs for the NHL. and we said it before, and I'll say it again. NHL playoffs is the best playoff system
They're really
out of
good.
any sport, and it's not even close.
It's really good.
It's not even close. After watching the NBA right now, with the way the referees are really dictating games, it sucks. NBA playoffs sucks. I hate saying it because I love basketball, but the way that the referees control the game and the way that they dictate outcomes, kicking a star player out of games is an absolute joke. Absolute joke. You have not heard one negative thing about the NHL. The way it's being refereed, the way it's being played. It's tough. Let the players decide the outcome. The way referees control NBA, they have way too much power in how it is being played, how the outcomes come, and who wins or loses. I'm done. I'm done. I'm out on NBA playoffs. If it's not Sixers, I'm not watching the game.
I agree that the hockey playoffs are the number one playoffs outside of March Madness. March Madness is its own monster.
Correct.
It's something special.
Yes.
But in terms of playoffs, and I say this even over NFL,
Yeah.
when you look top to bottom, when you look at playoffs that consistently year in and year out, an 8 seed can beat a 1 seed, where they do it the proper way and that they reorganize
Yep.
the seeding
Reseed
round
every
by
round.
round,
Yep.
which I hate that the NBA doesn't do that.
Yep.
But you look at all this, and they really do it the right way, and the players for the most part. And I like you're looking at like some of these series, right? Like Toronto and
Oh, gosh. Tampa, New
I mean,
York, and New Jersey.
I mean, they're having slugfest, like literally fist fighting slugfests out there. They're letting them play a physical game without getting too out of hand. It's hockey.
Correct.
It's like old school hockey. The NBA, we spoke about the Harden thing. I'm not going to speak on that again. It was egregious.
It's just any game.
The
Draymond game. How do you kick him out?
You don't stomp on somebody's chest.
His foot was being held.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
There's a foot held. And especially with DeMar
But
Hamlin.
everyone wants to see stars.
Right. Well,
suspend them for 20 games in the regular season.
No, I don't think he should have been suspended. That's on the league. That's not the coaches. When you stomp on a guy's chest, stomp. It wasn't a step.
Okay.
He didn't step over him.
Right.
Or step on him. I can't believe that more people don't talk about the fact that he put force and stomped on his chest. Like, especially coming off of DeMar Hamlin, who, if you hit, all it takes is a one blunt hit in the wrong spot on the chest. It doesn't matter how old you are, how healthy you are. You do a lot of damage to somebody. That's unacceptable, particularly for a guy who knows better.
Right.
Who has done it, and he doesn't care. And he proved he didn't care.
He doesn't
his
care.
Reaction after.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like,
maybe that's why you kick him out, is because of the way he handled it.
It's one thing you half-ass grab a guy's leg. That's one thing. And the technical was assessed as it should. You cannot stomp on somebody's chest or stomach. You can't do that. You could really seriously hurt somebody that way. So I digress. There should have never been a suspension.
I 100% agree.
I actually think the refs handled that one correctly in that he steps on the chest. He's done.
Okay.
He's back next game.
I hate it.
It was only 6 or 7 minutes left in the game. So I like the idea, and I've heard a lot of people mention this, so I'm not going to take this as my own idea, but I agree with it in that the way you punish him instead of suspending him is you take it, the team loses him for that last 6-7 minutes. And then that's, hey, you have to deal with the fact that because you went way over the line, you hurt your team by not being there. That game.
Right.
The rest of that game.
Right. So, again, like I said, if a suspension's coming, regular season next year. Give them all you want.
Joel goes and kicks Claxton right.
That was
balls.
A joke.
I'm going to be honest. That was he should have been kicked out for that game. And then you can't. This is where the refs come in. There's no explanation for kicking James Harden out of the game other than it's a makeup call. And why you can't do a makeup call, first of all, that's on you for not making that first call. And
Correct.
they should have. Joe should have been kicked out of the game. But you can't. That wasn't even a common foul.
No. No.
He didn't even foul him.
He was down and he was walking over him, and you just gave him the old punt to the nuts.
And he got. I'm talking about like
Harden.
the Harden thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a foul. It wasn't a common foul.
I could understand
Bro,
if you want.
check.
If you want.
That was an acting job if I've ever seen one.
If you want to give him the foul of extending the arms and blocking the defender away, okay, whatever. But I agree with you. In playoff basketball, that's better not be called a foul, let alone an ejection.
That is not a foul. You can
Same thing with all these charges. Right. I'm so tired. Joel Embiid's a bigger guy. Stop blowing the whistle on him. If he throws his body into someone and someone falls backwards, can we stop with this?
Yeah.
Let the players play. He's a bigger body. He's stronger. That should be a benefit, not a deterrent.
Yeah. These guys should be allowed to hand check, okay?
Yes.
That's all that was that Harden did. That wasn't even a push off. He hand checked them, which every player in the NBA does in every game.
Didn't create space. It didn't open them up for a shot. It didn't do anything. It was a protecting of the ball. That's what it was.
What's crazy is the way the first couple games of the playoffs started before the Draymond incident, they were physical, and they were actually getting praised for letting them play to a certain extent because it was very much like old school NBA.
I don't think so.
More. I'm saying like the first day. If you watch that first day of games, there were some very physical games that were well officiated, where they drew a line of, we're going to let you guys be physical here, but we're going to make certain calls that you can't, It was very well done, but once the Draymond thing happened, it's been over since then.
I mean, it's
been a very
whistle
quick
after
downhill.
whistle after. It kills the game. It really does.
But the thing too now is, and this is what I don't like. This is why the NBA. This is an issue I have with the NBA. They are encouraging teams now, players, to instigate the star players of the games to do things, and the star player who reacts is going to get a penalty or get maybe a
ejection or whatever,
an ejection, and a suspension.
Or just listen. Did Magic ever get in foul trouble? Did Jordan, Bird, Isaiah, any of the? Did they ever get in foul trouble? Joel Embiid should never be in foul trouble. James Harden should never be in foul trouble. If it's close, if you want to call a foul and there's another guy there, you better give it to the other guy. Star players need to be on the court. That's what the NBA should be focusing on instead of all this other nonsense.
So the one thing I'll say about that, and then we can move on, I agree they need to be on the court, but the issue before we worry about the officiating kicking a guy out of a game is load management. Let's get Let's get that fixed first. So guys are playing 55 or playing 60 games a year instead of playing 45 and 50.
Kawhi Leonard went from being maybe the best player in the world to an absolute joke.
Stephen A. Smith said the other day, and I agree with him, the worst superstar player in the history of professional sports to have on your team is Kawhi Leonard.
I agree.
And it's not for talent. It's not for personality. He is never available.
Nope.
For the talent he has.
And he chooses it. He chooses it.
I don't understand why he couldn't play the other day. For the talent he has and the money it costs to pay a player of that talent level, to never be available it's unbelievable. Yeah. And I agree with Stephen A.
I do too.
That's crazy. We're going to wrap up here with just some quick food for thought. Phils. I mean, rough start.
Yeah.
They're getting Bryce back coming up pretty quick.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's much needed. I listen. I know you added Trey Turner.
Yeah.
I like Trey. I know his power numbers haven't quite been there yet. And then I'm sure it's a little bit frustrating as a Phillies fan.
Yeah.
When you see what he did in the World Baseball Classic and it's not translating at this point yet.
Not worried about it.
This team struggled last year up until the All-Star break. I don't expect them to go that long.
Right.
But when you come into the year and you're missing your former MVP and you're missing
your captain,
I'm not a Phillies fan, and I don't love Rhys Hoskins. However, there is a value there.
He's the captain.
Lose him is a problem. That's a lot of firepower that you're missing out of a lineup.
It's a lot of leadership.
It's a lot of Bryce is one of your big emotional leaders.
It's your two leaders, right? You have Rhys and you have Bryce. You're losing your two voices in the locker room. And as a coaching staff, that's hard to make up for.
Yeah, agreed. So, yeah, no, I think it's much needed. If he's ready to go, I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think not just for the Philadelphia Phillies, but the sport of baseball is better when Bryce Harper is playing.
right.
So I think it's a boost for the league to get a guy like him back in the lineup.
I'm going to give you another one, too. That now, I'm sure when the trade deadline comes, everyone's going to be clamoring for more. There's only one move I want the Phillies to make.
Starting pitcher.
Nope. We already have him. Give me Andrew Painter. Bring this kid up. Let him go. The kid is just throwing BBs. He's ready to go. Let him come up come the trade deadline. Let him finish out the year with us, and let's go make a run at another World Series. That's the biggest move the Phillies can make.
You would know better than I would. I look at the team. Listen, I'm still not. I will stand by it. I am not an Aaron Nola guy.
Yeah, he's been struggling.
He's been rough this year, and this is an important year for him
Huge
financially.
Year. Yeah.
So most guys kind of rise to the occasion so far. We haven't seen it.
Right.
If I'm the Phillies, I would look for some pitching at this point. I feel like everything is always the offense, and I'm not saying that. Obviously you get Trey Turner when you get Trey Turner.
Oh, always.
I just don't understand. And I know they got Wheeler when he was a free agent, but they need more pitch. They always, always, always. Every year, the one thing that always comes up is their pitching is not good enough.
And that's almost any team, right? There's almost every playoff team when it comes deadline is looking for arms.
But you can never have enough. I agree with you. But, man, do you go out and take a flyer on a Bumgarner?
No.
Is he done?
So I'm not going to say he's done, but that's what I'm saying is we have the guy.
To bring him in, though.
We have the guy.
Right.
Right? All you got to do is just let him pitch. We have the best trade value you're going to get in the starting lineup. You're not going to get a guy like Andrew Painter in trading. Right? And we don't have to go up a thing. All we got to do is bring him up.
What if they bring him up and he stinks?
I don't think that's going to happen.
I would be surprised. But my thing is, right, we're talking about never enough pitching. So why can't you bring Painter up, maybe sign Bumgarner, and he's going to cost nothing because they're gonna his contract's basically being released.
I'm not against it. I'm not going to
maybe
same thing that happened with Syndergaard. He was a great pickup.
Do with him what you did with Thor.
Yeah.
Maybe a long reliever / spot starter.
Right. He's a great dugout guy.
They need a lot of help. On the pitching side.
He would be a good fit. I don't think he's going to be the guy that you come in and say, hey, you're going to be the ace. You're going to be game one start. You know what I mean? He's not that guy, but I think he would be an arm that might be serviceable. That's all. I mean, you saw Sanchez came back last night. I don't think that could be the answer. I don't think you could keep running with Matt Strom, even though he's looked amazing so far. I don't think he could be an all-year starter. He never has been. He'll never go more than 5-6 innings, first of all. So, getting another veteran arm maybe it's not a bad call.
Yeah, I think the big key for this team to see what they're really going to be, though, it's going to be getting Bryce back.
Yeah,
that's where you can really start to evaluate. And again, I think a veteran starting pitcher would help them in terms of depth.
Right.
And again, you can use them same way as Thor. I love that.
There's one guy that I'll give you that I think is sitting out there. I think he's ready to go right now. That I don't know why no team's really taking a chance on. Trevor Bauer.
Didn't he sign in Japan or something?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah, I'm shocked that no major league team has taken a shot on him.
His major league career is done.
You think so?
Yeah.
Just with all off-field issues?
There's so much there.
There is.
It's the Ray Rice effect, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's different, but it's the same in that Ray Rice was in his prime, and it was so egregiously looked at what happened with him. No team was ever going to give him a chance.
You might be right.
And the difference, I'll say that actually this is even worse for Trevor Bauer, is that he's also a guy who some people say he has an edge, this and that. Some people think he's
Yes.
difficult to be around.
He was
I don't-
never apologetic either. At
Right.
least Ray Rice and other guys a little bit were.
I think that he's intense, and
Yeah.
I don't think it rubs people, not just fans,
Teammates.
but in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think it rubs people the right way. So
You're probably right.
I think that's going to be what ends up costing this man a possible return. But you never know. I mean, listen, we've seen it a million times, right? People will pay for talent.
He has the talent. Yeah.
People will. A lot of times, people will take a shot at talent. So, anything else for the greater good here?
No, I think that's it, guys. If you're down in the area, or you want to come down, grab your team's hat, support the Sixers. I got tons of Sixers hats. Just got some new ones in. Or come down and grab your custom hats, guys.
Yeah, come get these exclusive hats. The one behind John's head is one of my favorites here. We had it on a couple weeks ago.
There you go.
It's
Bob's
John's Lemonade or Bob's Lemonade.
Bob's
now.
Lemonade,
Right. They changed the name. Bob's Lemonade, but they changed it to. It looks almost like a Philadelphia A's type of hat, right? So it's kind of the coolest. It's like a fusion between old and new.
Yep.
And I'll say this: Oakland needs to move.
It looks like they are.
But if they change their uniforms, I will be furious because I think
they will.
I think the Oakland A's have one of the best, cleanest, nicest uniforms in professional sports.
The color scheme is just gorgeous.
Listen, they changed Oakland to Las Vegas on the front. Fine. Don't mess with the uniform. Don't change the A on the hat.
You know they're going to.
Don't
do
it. Well, that's going to be awful then.
Yeah.
They're going to take away something pretty great.
They'll have it as a throwback. That's it.
Well, they can stick their throwback up their backside. But anyway, yeah, guys, come down, check out, get the exclusive hats. Any of your teams here, and don't forget, here at All Campus, you're an A2D subscriber, you get 20% off any of your purchases here. So, John, great show again. Appreciate you having me, man. Lots of things to keep an eye on. Sixers playoffs continue next weekend. NFL draft. We're going to have a lot of different special shows this week. John will be.
We're going to AC for it this year. So you guys are in the draft. We're going to be at the Hard Rock. Come on down. Join us at the sports book. We'll have the VIP section. We're going to have drinks flowing, having a fun time. Going to be a lot of people there.
There you go. We'll have other draft specials. So pay attention all week here on A2D Radio. Check out all of our shows Monday to Sunday. And, have a beautiful day out there, guys. Come down, get a hat here at All Campus. For myself, for John, Ralphie on the back end, appreciate him as well. And for all you guys who dropped your comments in here, I just want to put these last couple up here.
Yeah, thank you guys. Really.
We appreciate it. You guys were great with your engagement today. But have a beautiful Sunday. Take care.
Have a good one, guys.